Let's get back to Sydney now. Joining me as she does every week is independent MP Dai. Dai, great to see you. Been talking a lot about housing this week. I spoke to Chris Minns a little earlier in the week, and he says most of the mayors are on board now with his plan essentially, but there's a few details still to be ironed out. What do you think of the conversation and the actual progress being made at the moment?
Look, obviously, as you know, I've been calling for, more affordable housing. I think my understanding from, Chris Minns' decision around planning is that it could kind of get rid of the whole backyard family home with a backyard, for kids. Now, in our area in Fairfield City, we have land that are zoned for, up to about 20,000 homes to be built. So there's land that's already zoned for housing development. The issue is around the cost of building homes nowadays. Construction costs have gone up, staff shortages, but also the taxes that both state and federal government have got on terms of building homes. So I think one of the things that of course, our Mayor, Frank Carbone, have called on both federal and state government is to take all of the taxes for first home buyers at least, because the cost of all of those, the GSTs and all the other taxes on building a first home will add cost to housing. So I think that there needs to be a conversation between obviously the state government and the local government, and in this case,
I did ask Minns about the taxes when it comes to construction. He didn't seem, overwhelmingly wanting to reduce those in any way, which may not surprise you.
No, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it's no point for government to talk about building more homes and they don't make it affordable to build homes for first home buyers in particular, or for those that are really struggling to, in our areas here in our area, in Western Sydney and Fowler in particular. As I keep on saying on your program, Laura, our median wage is about $521 a week. We've got big families, and really, young people are really not going to be able to buy the first home ever, in particular in my area here in Fowler. So I think with all the policy announcements that governments have been making around affordable housing, I think what's lacking is that conversation to sit down to say how it's going to work for various, obviously, electorates in various places in New South Wales or other states and territories.
Yeah, still a few things to be worked out, it sounds like there. Just let me ask you about this right to disconnect was one thing, but now the right to work from home. This could affect millions of people. Now, this isn't being pushed by the federal government. Well, we'll find out from Tony Burke. I'll speak to him in a bit. But essentially, the Fair Work Commission has taken upon themselves to look at whether this should be a basic right for workers. What do you think about that?
Oh, you know what? We will not have anybody working the way that we're going. I think it's great for those that are privileged enough to maybe work in an office to say I work from home. But for me, in my electorate, those that are in manufacturing, in retail, construction,
well, they can't work from home.
Luckily, they work from home. Honestly, Laura, I mean, the legislations that we're making are not actually, creating advantages for people, for Fowler, people in Western Sydney and in the Fowler who are really blue-collar workers, if you can call it that. They are really, I just don't get it. The right to disconnect, the right to work from home. Honestly, I mean, where is the productivity then?
That's a good question.
Of our society. That's because, how are you going to monitor somebody's productivity if they work from home, or the right to disconnect from... Anyway, I just really think it's so ridiculous the way that our legislations are really being pushed out there, that really making our society not the clever country that's supposed to be, not making it a hard, working country that we're supposed to be. Because if we don't work hard, I can tell you, we are going to be the ass end of the world, and we're going to be, just not being the productive country that we should be. We've got so much talent here, and why are we creating policies that are discouraging and not incentivizing people to work.